I grew up in Gray's Inn, and it was like growing up in Dickensian London, really. And when I was very, very small, there was still the pea soupers. And when they happened, you could almost feel that you were touching the past, that if you put your hand out, you could almost see Dickens walk past. And London then was completely different. There were no cars that went past Theobald's Road, and if we were there at the weekend, we would run to the gates to watch a car go past. And it had a lamplighter. It was the only place in London that still had a lamplighter. And when Heath had his big strikes and the whole of London went dark, the only place that didn't was Gray's Inn, because it had the gaslight lamper. And it had been in their family, and his father had known Dickens. And it had that quality that the past was so present. It wasn't a thing far away, and I think that was the beginning of my real love for history. Well, I have to say I've always told myself stories, because I couldn't read till I was 14. I used to love books with pictures, and I would make up my own stories. And then when I ever was unhappy, I would tell myself a very good story. And so the ability to tell myself stories and to escape into my head has been one of the main things of my life. And at periods of time, I've worried that it was an insanity, this ability to tell myself stories and to disappear. I mean, I can lose track of time. A whole day can go past in a story. And now I can't believe it. I mean, now I feel I've sort of gone to heaven, because I'm paid to actually lose track of time and tell stories. To be dyslexic as a child was very, very tricky. My parents were both very clever. And I can only describe it like having your face pushed up against a glass, which is clear, but you can't get through it. And you can see everybody behind the glass, everyone's doing something, and something is stopping you from getting through into that room. And I think if I'd been left alone, but I was made to perform in a way that I couldn't. These words meant nothing to me. They floated off the blackboard, they hung on the floor, they never stayed on the page. And because of it, and because of my ability to escape into my head, I was seen as really not fitting in at all. And I ended up going to masses of schools because of it. And finally ended up at a school for maladjusted children, which really was, I think, in a way, the making of me, in a very good way, because I sort of realized I was incredibly lucky, that I was loved. I mean, a lot of the children at this school, they were on the way to prison. There was nothing for them, and they were not loved, they were not valued. And I realized I really was. The way I can describe my dyslexia is like a cinema in my head. So I have an absolute filmic memory. So when I see a scene in my head, I see it exactly like a film. And I can freeze frame it, and I can walk around them, and I can change things. I can think, oh no, Jessica wouldn't sit, they wouldn't sit there, move over, and I can alter. And it's incredibly real for me. I don't know how else to say it, and I think that really aids my writing. It aids my ability to tell stories as well, and it is a gift. I mean, I think if I wasn't this seriously dyslexic, and I hadn't had the ability to live in my head and have the imagination I had, and I think actually there's nothing better than being written off educationally, because no one expects anything of you, and in a way, if no one expects anything of you, you can only go up, really. And so I think that was a fortuitous moment in my life. My next book is called The Silver Blade. It is a continuation of the story from The Red Necklace, and basically it is the true love story between Yann and Sido. And it is not as easy for them to be together as we'd like to be. And Yann is of gypsy origin, and Sido is a Marquis's daughter. And there is a lot of difficulty in them getting together. Also, Yann is very involved in helping people get out of Paris. This book is set in the time of the Terror, and it's set in a very shorter space of time than The Red Necklace, when the guillotine was really at its most active. It is based in London and Paris again, and also in the catacombs of Paris, which play a huge part in this. And the catacombs are 21 metres below Paris, like a sort of honeycomb of tunnels and water, and very, very scary. And it's where now, today, 6 million bones of dead people are, 6 million dead lie down there. And Kalioski plays a part in it, as does a very large and terrifying wolfhound with human eyes.